coming up on Added Time.
Because that is a real Manchester United performance.
But also, there's times when you think, I just can't beat this guy.
No.
Look, in my opinion, they should have won that game against Everton.
I used to have about 64 million. I don't have it anymore.
We've all been in dressing rooms when that's gone. It's very hard to come back.
This one's a good one for a current player. Sorry to the lads.
There's a lot of rumours flying about as well that allegedly that he did that on purpose. That's all.
I love conspiracy.
Boz, Amy, a Bulldog, nice to see you again.
Good to see you. Good to
Great to see you. Yes, good to see you. Amy, lovely to see you.
Yeah, all you guys. And let's start with the big news of the weekend, Manchester United. What a performance that was. Like an entirely different team, onside, offside. Kobbie Mainoo's first start this season was the key to their victory. Discuss.
Boz, it's all yours, mate.
I'm going to say VAR for that one. So I go upstairs because he played a magnificent part. There's no doubt, but everyone did. It really was. I don't like saying this because of what's been going on, but it really was a throwback. They got the crowd involved early. They smothered Manchester City. The distance they covered without the ball was extraordinary.
Amazing,
And they created chance after chance. And really, with the exception of having goals disallowed and Donnarumma pulling off some fantastic saves,
Unbelievable saves.
It would have been more. One little caveat. We have seen this video before, unfortunately, for Manchester United. One that comes to mind, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when they went to Paris and won after losing the first leg in the Champions League, and it was like, oh, here we go, let's do this. So I can understand if there's a little bit of scepticism amongst the fans.
Yeah, you got to back it up.
The time is to enjoy it right now. They're right in the mix for that Champions League place. We believe that it will go down to 5 places because of the coefficient scores that England have so far got in European football through their clubs. We'll see this weekend against Arsenal away. That will be a huge game.
Hey, Bozza, how good Bruno Fernandes? I thought
outstanding,
he was unbelievable. What a player!
This is the last
best
thing I
game
want
for a
to
long
say.
time.
This is where credit.
Dominant.
This is where credit must be given to Michael Carrick because, for me, one of the biggest jobs of any manager is to give time and space to your best players, the way you set up. And he'd done that perfectly. And on the break, they were absolutely extraordinary.
Incredible.
Do you think Carrick got it tactically perfect? Because he's up against the best.
Yeah,
Pep.
he is, yeah.
And you rarely see Pep out tactic. But I think credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
He did it. I think, Amy, they were that dangerous. And Pep, sometimes they hide behind possession.
Yeah.
Pep was having none of it. They said, oh, you should have done it. You had 70%, 68, I think it officially was. But he said, no. They were the better team, could have won by more.
Yeah. And you could tell they were just up for it. And you always see in world football, manager gets sacked, next game, the team always wins.
Manager
because they're free, they're playing with freedom, they're just going out there and doing their job. But it's also even easier to get up for a derby like that and want to win.
Great atmosphere, boss.
They just were a class above. And it's crazy to say that against a Man City who have been so dominant over the past few years.
And with the players. You look at the players, Haaland, Rodri, Cherki,
they just starved them.
They've got internationals coming off the bench, Bozza. What a performance. I know what you mean. I know I get your caveat, but Fozzie, I reckon, they're equal with Liverpool on points now.
Yeah.
Liverpool, and everyone's pretty inconsistent, but they're in striking distance of the dreamland.
Well, if they play like that, I guess...
One point behind Liverpool.
1 point, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's the inconsistency is the problem. As you said, I mean, Solskjaer came in and he did a Carrick job. He was the interim, did a phenomenal job, and as soon as he got a 3-year deal or something, they started to go backwards. So, this has just been a repeating cycle. But I guess the question for all you guys as top-class footballers is how do you get such a disparity in 2 weeks in his first game with 3 training sessions? Because that is a real Manchester United performance. How does that happen?
It's mentality. It's all upstairs.
Is it the game? You touched on it, Amy, the size of the game.
Yeah, it's, apart from a final, for them, it's the biggest game. You've played in those games. You know how important they are, not only to you as a player, your teammates, but the fans, everyone that's so invested in that football club. Everyone's just gone through it. You want to give someone something to smile about.
So what he's got to do now, Fozzie, touching on your point, is how do you continue that?
Yeah.
Like, is that the new standard, or are they going to go back, Bozza?
Oh, this is the thing.
What do you think?
Well, $64 million question. We'll have
I used to have about 64 million. I don't have it anymore, Amy.
Back to what Fozzie said, Hal, I think the most important thing is, and you've been in a situation where managers have come in, and you have as well when they've been said, but all leaders have, is to get inside the psychology of the players. What brings the best out of those players? And to do that, you have to have an inside knowledge, or have who would have had a slight knowledge as well from obviously his past. When Ollie took over, he was his number 2 for a time when he was caretaker manager. But I think that is the most important thing. The other thing, again, without putting a dampener on it, you're coming up against Manchester City. You have got nothing to lose. Yeah. They got the crowd involved early. And the way he set them up, I think, suited all the players. And that was absolutely key for us.
So one of the things is got to be put the right players in the right positions and let you talk about
space
Panenkas.
for your best player. Yeah, and that was absolutely key.
That's what was apparent to me. Tactically, you got it right.
To see, you know yourself, we all know, sometimes in teams, there are dynamics that are not good. And there does come times where you sort of think to yourself, it does, and especially in your position, right? Yeah. You know what? No matter what you say, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, you will go that extra bit further if you like a player. Yeah. Now, to see those wide players on right and on the left tracking back to help out both their fullbacks.
Because that's what you don't want to do.
Well, I know, but it's not easy.
No, I get it. No, it's not easy.
It's not easy. But
it's a sacrifice in a lot of ways.
We have to be brutal here. If there is a problem with you personally and that fullback, when it gets really, really difficult, whether it's subconsciously where you just think, it makes a difference.
I've had that playing against certain fullback. I remember, and I know it was quite some time ago.
For you to come and help your teammates.
Yeah, and sometimes, but also there's times when you think, it might be 60 minutes, it might be 50 minutes, it might be 70th minute, and you get, I just can't beat this guy.
No.
And it's not something you say out loud or tell your teammates, but... mentally you're going...
He's just having a fantastic game.
I'm talking about you tracking back for your team.
No, I get what you're saying. Because that's
all that.
That's a sacrifice. There's only... The teams that are the most successful are the ones... like they always talk about how good they are with the ball, Amy, and how good... But it's how quick they get it back. And even though they had all the possession, but when they got into dangerous areas, United were like tigers.
Yeah, they were just ruthless. So many offside goals. Like you said, Donnarumma made some incredible saves.
He was extraordinary.
They just had that desire. They weren't going to lose that game.
No, it's amazing. And also just making people do their jobs, right?
Yeah.
So you talk about wingers tracking back or fullbacks getting forward or number 10 helping in the press. All of a sudden you get a guy in who just says, OK, let's simplify it. We go back to a back four. We put him in number 10 position. We're going to counter-attack against these guys. That's their weakness. Yeah. But also, in every moment, everyone needs to work.
Everyone's ready.
Right? Yeah. And what happens sometimes, sadly, with a good coach like Amarim, people get away with that sort of cheating. You guys all know this. And all of a sudden you can't pull them up. And then someone comes in and goes, here's the new standard. Everyone... And there's a kind of freshness because everyone goes, oh, thank God for that. This guy's over here, he's going to have to do his work. He's going to make him do it.
You bring that accountability.
And that does happen because we've all been in dressing rooms and there are times when you, hey, maybe they looked at me, but sometimes when everyone knows that guy over there is not pulling his weight.
Yeah.
And it's just human.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if the boss is not onto it, it's very difficult for the players to be onto it.
Yep.
Right? If he's allowing this to occur, then it's a real cancer in a team. So let's see how he goes. But one hell of a start, and United fans got to be pretty excited. All right, on to Boz's another one of Boz's old teams, Unai Emery. Shocking loss to Everton. We're still not a contender to be in the top 5. He said they're sitting 3rd in the table.
By quite some distance.
Onside, offside. You've got to say onside or offside here. Villa has a top 5 squad in the Premier League this season.
Onside, definitely. I think he's just saying that. We saw that 11 straight, a record-breaking winning streak, which they had. And that was always going to come to an end. I think they sort of got put back in their place a little bit with that defeat to Arsenal. But I think he's just taking the pressure off them completely. They're 7 points clear of 4th place at the moment. And I think it would take something catastrophic for them to drop out of the top 5. I think even the top 3 or top 4. They are back in Europe now, but as we know with the Europa League, you do not have to play as strong a team as you would have done in the Champions League. So that gives them but another big test for them coming up this weekend. Look, in my opinion, they should have won that game against Everton. They had chances galore and enough time to put it away. They didn't. And there's been times, especially during that 11-match run when it was the other way around, where you thought, how did they win that game? They won that game. Newcastle away is a huge game for anyone, and they have that this weekend. Newcastle play during the week in the Champions League as well, but that will tell us
very
a
much
bit
up
more.
And down as well.
The way they bounce back is so important. They bounce back very quickly straight after they lost to Arsenal with a win. I think it was against Nottingham Forest. I'll check it. 3-1 at home. This one is away, and it's a much more difficult game, so we'll see how we bounce.
Newcastle, that's the Champions League, isn't it? They're playing your old team.
PSV, talk about that soon. But I agree onside. I think they are a top 3, top 4 team, and I think they've proven that. And I think, okay, maybe the depth will be tested now a little bit. The back end of the year, you're starting getting some niggles. But I think they've done enough to prove that they are. And I think, I agree, he's just protecting them.
Listen, you guys can all agree, but I'm going to disagree because I'm a one-eyed Liverpool fan.
Okay.
So we got Mo Salah coming back
Yeah.
from the AFCON. I think that's going to give them a lift. Slot obviously in danger. So, yeah, Villa, 6 points away from Liverpool, but I'm still hopeful that they can make a run. But totally agree that Villa are in the box seat. So
Yeah, okay.
if they get
7 points clearly.
So before he went away, Salah wasn't contributing to the team.
No, he
Forget
wasn't,
that.
but he's going to come
Wirtz
back
wasn't doing
refreshed.
well. But now Wirtz is doing unbelievably
He
well
is.
in his absence.
That's right.
So what do you think's going to happen?
I think Mo's going to finish top goal
Okay.
scorer. No. I think he did. It was expected during the African Nations Cup he would move, that he would leave, and I think by him not leaving, I think he's going to come back refreshed. And I just get a feeling that there's too much quality in the Liverpool side for it not to click at some stage. Don't forget they haven't lost for 5.
Yeah.
All draws. Therein lies your problem.
Yeah, I certainly should have won against Burnley.
Oh,
anyway.
Yes, of course. But the trouble is
Once
when you
again,
don't...
they've copped that one goal.
You don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Onside, offside. You guys will enjoy this. I'll come to you, Rob, because you haven't started on one of them yet, I don't think. But
Pressure's on, Amy.
Spurs lose again.
Oh, no.
Against, well, it's your old team, West Ham.
Just bring Ange
right?
back.
Who needed one?
We needed one,
Hang
and
on,
we need
the
a lot
fans
more.
were singing "You're getting sacked" in the morning, as they do.
Yes.
Regardless of results, onside, offside, Frank's tenure is basically over. It's beyond repair.
Oh, mate, what is it? They've won 3,
Onside,
I
offside.
think. I say onside.
Okay.
1 in the last 8.
1 in the last 8. I think they've won 3 at home in the last 25. It's just ridiculous to be a Tottenham fan. And we know what they're like on this. I mean, you follow anything on Spurs.
Yeah,
it's
passionate.
just,
They're passionate.
They're passionate. And I can't see him surviving, guys. I just...
Okay.
Because this is Ange's team, inverted commas, and he's an attacking coach, right?
Yep.
We know Ange.
Yep.
What's plan B? We do plan A better. We da-da-da-da. And he's a defensive coach who had success. But he's come in to fill the boots, and players have been signed on Ange's philosophy. So his philosophy is completely wrong. And I think we talked about this with Ange. He did the other thing where he replaced Nuno, who was popular. No one wanted him to leave. It was
Pragmatic football. So, and he tried to do the opposite. Yeah.
The opposite. So quite
and this
similar.
guy's done the opposite. Yeah.
And both coaches were loved by the fans. I know Ange had his detractors, but they still...
Yeah.
So it's a similar situation. It's only... You can only say...
So you think he should go? Or, like, what should the club do?
I think it's... I mean, you look
You think
at
it's
the
untenable?
players.
They're playing Dortmund in Champions League.
Yeah.
And, if they lose that game, then, top 8 is out. I think they're currently sitting 11th.
Yes.
Dortmund,
Yeah, so they're still
one spot
okay.
above.
That's very close to that Champions League because...
They'll get in that top
Arsenal,
24.
So it's a critical game for the season, right?
Yeah.
Second place to, 11th, there's only 2 points in it.
Yeah, there is.
Practically. So it's...
Yep.
They could do it.
Okay.
There's no evidence to suggest, in my opinion, that he's going to turn it around.
Amy?
I agree. I think you look at that group and it doesn't really look like the team back him. And I think we've all been in dressing rooms when that's gone. It's very hard to come back from.
Turn it around now.
And I think even, the style of play is very opposite to Ange,
What do you
that
think?
attacking flair. This is very defensive.
Yeah. I actually think, onside, that I think there's no other choice. If they start losing, because they've got a really, really difficult period coming up after the Dortmund and Frankfurt and Burnley games. So that's the next 3. Well, Dortmund during the week, Burnley on the weekend, then Frankfurt the following
Burnley
week.
away.
Then they've got Man City at home, Man United away, Newcastle at home, then the North London derby at home.
Yeah.
The trouble is anyone's hard for them.
The only thing I will say is this: if I was in Tottenham's position, I would probably wait to the end of the season. Now, a lot of fans will say, we can't wait this long. I still don't think that they will get relegated, although they've got to be careful that they don't get sucked towards that.
No,
so I would give in to the end of the season. But, I mean, there's only so much anyone can take, regardless of what you think, in terms of losing. If he keeps losing, he'll leave he will leave them with no other
Well, the fans
choice.
have basically dropped him already.
Well,
which they have
that's
done
what I mean.
a few
So
times.
for the,
He does keep
for the
losing.
medium term.
Yeah.
So
But then you come in now, you bring in someone now with that run, and all of a sudden there's 4 games out of 5, and they're in trouble.
Yeah, you're going to look for a Michael Carrick type.
So are we saying that the club is still a mess?
Yep.
That this is really the point, is because you bring in people that don't suit the way of playing.
Well, they've got Vinay's come over from Arsenal, who'd done a wonderful job as in several roles at Arsenal, but mainly as sporting director. And he was one of the great stickers when Mikel Arteta came under a bit of pressure early on.
Yeah, okay, right.
So he was one of the great sort of, you could say, glues to say, no, we're going to stick by him. And you could point to the fact, look at Arsenal now.
Yeah, okay.
So he has that record in that. Paratici has gone. So when you say behind the scenes, there's still a little bit of rumblings. But if he keeps losing, regardless of how much somebody is one that wants to keep steady in terms of Vinay, if he keeps losing, they'll be left with no other choice. Yeah. But I just think right now, coming towards the end of the transfer window, if you do bring someone in off the back of what you guys just said, all ears, about the Anne situation at Nottingham Forest and now Thomas Frank, they have to bring somebody in who is going to be comfortable with the players and what
almost
they...
Almost a character. You almost know someone who knows.
So basically,
otherwise you can't start quickly.
And also the way that they play the best, which as we saw last season, ironically, even though they didn't in the final, but... was to be playing on the front foot. Not too much, but
which most of the fans anyway enjoy. All right, we'll talk about that in future again in the next couple of weeks, because the thing is, I can't understand how a coach, because Frank can coach, you can say that, because the first 3 months were good. The start of the season was good against PSG and da-da-da.
And he had success with the club he had before.
Well, success...
well, it depends how you measure success.
He was competent with them, and so he knows the league, and all of a sudden, so how can you become so bad so quickly? So it has to be about the pressure and the decisions that he starts. Anyway, we'll do that in the coming weeks. And by the way, Adam's away this week. He's doing some tennis.
Oh, is Adam away?
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I'm sitting here. So listen...
Man of all sports, Adam.
I've got to come to Amy on this one. This one's a good one for a current player. Sorry to the lads, but Senegal walked off in protest to the penalty decision in the AFCON final. Brahim Diaz missed the penalty, the Moroccan star. Senegal won, 4th minute of extra time they scored. They actually walked off the field in protest at a penalty being given.
Extraordinary.
So onside, offside, walking off in protest of a refereeing decision as players overshadows the Senegal win.
Yeah, I think onside for that. I think as much as there's probably moments we've all thought of getting off for a decision like that, I just don't think it's in the spirit of the game. And I mean, it worked out for them in the end, but I think I've seen reports today that there's going to be sanctions.
Repercussions.
Yeah, repercussions of everything.
Yeah, there should be.
Should there be?
Should it be fines?
Yes.
Yeah, it was bad.
It wasn't only that.
It was bad.
If anyone watched the whole game and so forth, the ball boys, the Moroccan ball boys, were trying to deny Eduardo Mendy, the Senegal goalkeeper, from getting a towel from their reserve goalkeeper. Get the footage up. It's disgraceful. But basically gaining around him to stop him giving a towel because it was wet. Right. There has to be. Remember, this is one of the host nations for 2030. Yeah, Morocco, along with Spain, Portugal, and they're going to take it to Uruguay and Argentina. That's right. As well as we know, just for a couple games. But forget about how much infrastructure and this, that, the other. That needs to be sorted out. The whole thing was a shambles, and it was disgraceful. And there needs to be heavy sanctions, and people need to be told that you're not to be behaving like this.
It's not acceptable.
Or else, or else you'll lose the World Cup. Yeah. Simple as that.
And the thing is, the penalty that he misses, why? Yeah. Because how long did he have to wait?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so there's a question of fair play.
Also, he took a shocking Panenka.
Yeah.
There is a lot of rumours.
But he had a lot of time to think about it.
There is a lot of rumours flying.
Imagine how many times he thought, should I do this Panenka or should I not do it?
There is a lot of rumours flying.
That's true. He shouldn't have to go through that.
No, but there's a lot of rumours flying about as well that allegedly that he did that on purpose.
Oh,
yeah, that's all.
I love conspiracy.
But there is a lot of research on the longer you have to wait for the penalty, you miss.
Yeah, Bills is... Look,
it was terrible. As great as the ending was and how exciting it was, that really just overshadowed a good event.
Still to come on Added Time.
Would you consider... sort of saying, I might play not so strong a team as you've got Man United on the weekend.
Our underinvestment and our under-focus on women's football here is going to cost us big time.
It makes me so angry just even talking about it because the state of how it's got to that point is just alarming.
What is happening to these women?
Yes.
And the women's game is nothing short of a disgrace.
The system's coming through. I don't know if they're setting them up to succeed to go anymore.
Well done. So, Adam, you can stay at the tennis.
All right, Palace, Oliver Glasner. We talked about him last week. Just a general discussion here. It's not onside, offside, but he confirmed he'll leave my old club, the Eagles, when his contract expires at the end of the season. similar fashion to what we talked about recently. I mean, Amarim and the comments. He took a swipe at the Palace board after they lost to Sunderland. They've had a really bad last couple of months. Despite that, they're still 4 points ahead of where they were last season, in which they got their most points ever in the Premier League. Of course, won the FA Cup. They went out of the FA Cup against Macclesfield as well. So it's been a horrible couple of months. But he basically said, I feel we are abandoned completely. And then he said, in relation to the Ez and Gay transfers, if you get your heart torn out twice this season, one day before a game, it was with Ez in the summer, it's Gay now. The worst thing is selling our captain one day before playing a Premier League game. So where to for him, where to for Palace, and what do we reckon about these managers just basically attacking the club?
This is your old club. I'd like you to start this off.
Well, I think his comments are completely out of order. I like the way that he's handled the rest of it, as we were saying last week. Like, his coaches are going to leave, and what he should be doing is giving the club the opportunity to move on, right? Also, he should be upset at the fact that they are selling their biggest players.
Best players,
OK? However, given the financial constraints of a club like Eagles, you expect that. He has to expect that as a manager, but of course he's disappointed. So the thing about it is, I think these situations can be worked out amicably, because he's clearly capable of going to a higher level. Okay, you know, he was at Eintracht Frankfurt, did well in Europe, came across here as broken records for them, won the FA Cup. He's ready to go to a club with more ambition and more money, but I don't like the comments. So the thing is, OK, if that is the case, you don't have to attack the club publicly nonetheless. And I think because they've had an awful couple of months, the pressure just builds and they just say stupid stuff.
Oh, is this the new way?
Yeah, that's
like managers. It's not like a one-off now.
It's not. No, everyone is doing it.
So do you think someone like, you know, he's obviously
Maresca,
a lot of confidence.
So,
but what I'm saying, Glasner,
Nuno at Nottingham
is
Forest.
Is because he's watched other managers do it. They feel more like brave. He could do it.
I think they've seen the outcome. I don't think he wants to be there, and I think he's seen the outcome.
I'd rather go now.
Of Nuno at Forest. I think he's seen the outcome of Amarin, the outcome of Maresca, and thought to himself, this is what I'm truly feeling anyway. So why not just come out and say it like this? And if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. It's just a sad state of affairs, because he does such a brilliant job. The first trophy in their major trophy in their history, FA Cup,
100%.
won the Community Shield, brought through some wonderful players.
Yeah, he's done it. When they sold Elise and still went well. They sold Eze and was still going okay, but now they're falling. I mean, those big players leaving, Amy, it is difficult. I mean, of course it's disappointing and also for the team, because now you've got Gay going to.
But it's the ecosystem, Amy.
But you also see that as a teammate and thinking, OK, these players are getting sold to big clubs in this system that I'm also in. Why can't that be something I look forward to as well? You know, a club like that, it's now they're winning trophies, they're signing these big players, selling a lot of money. Like, it's ambitious for any other player, but then you see that from your manager and it leaves a bit of a sour taste. And, you know, you go to work every single day with these people, so it is tough. I don't love the comments, but, I think he definitely has the talent to go on to an even bigger club, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the recruitment of that club actually has been very, very good. But the problem is when you've got actual states coming in and funding like Manchester City and owning clubs all around the world and so on. So it's very difficult for these clubs to actually be able to compete on that next level.
And challenge.
So, of course, it's frustrating for a manager, but you can actually understand the people who are owning the clubs as well, can't you?
Exactly.
It's because you've got
that's right, and that's the challenge for Oliver Glasner, and to a large extent he's done it. He's proved that he can.
And by the way, they gave him the opportunity. This is the other
exactly.
side.
So,
like if I'm owning the club, I say, well, hang on a minute, we bought you from over there.
That's right.
You're doing well in a low European thing.
That's right.
We bought you here. You've won this stuff, and now every club wants you. You know, just
we
like
played a part of that, a bit of respect.
Yeah, exactly.
And Amy, a great point you made is that 100% is true. What you said when Guy gets sold and Eze and the other players in that dressing room go, wow, look where, you know, my mate, I'm having coffee with him one day and he's playing for massive clubs the next day. So it's a motivation for the people, and that until this point, you just felt that Palace had an unbelievable culture. You know,
so true.
and this has sort of blown it somewhat. You know, for me, it was unexpected. There was no warning sign that he was going to come out and say that.
No, it's true. And the thing is, I think it's a bit of like growing pains as well. So, you know, if you're a club like Palace, and there's many of them, and Brighton and the whole lot, and what's happening is all of a sudden you've recruited brilliantly, you've built these players, you're starting to sell them. Now everyone's looking at you as a selling club. Now's the time for decision-making. Are we a selling club, win the occasional trophy, survive, or do we keep these players and take the next step? And they're not staying without much higher wages, You know, they're going to Manchester City on double the money. So all of a sudden, you need another couple $100 million. Pounds. And if you can't find it, you're just stuck there. So I think there's a lot of clubs in that situation.
100%.
Okay, all right, let's move on. So crystal balls, Champions League and Europa League resume this week. Hallelujah! It's going to be great to have it back. So what are you guys thinking about the games? Inter, Arsenal, maybe as a standout?
Yeah, standout in terms of the fact that they're both up the top. But in these last two games of the Champions League... And
you look at that middle.
And towards the end, there's going to be some games of teams that are looking towards getting into the top 24, as silly as it sounds. The one I've picked out, it's really do or die for Olympiacos. Obviously won the Greek League last season versus Bayer Leverkusen. Olympiacos sitting in 29th place on 5 points. And on 20th place is Bayer Leverkusen on 9 points. Bayer Leverkusen could pretty much guarantee their place in the top 24. Olympiacos have to win. And there's a few games like that. There's also Copenhagen, who are right there on 24th against Napoli, who are on 23rd. They're on the same amount of points, 7 points each. Only goal difference separating the two. And the other one for sort of excitement for something outside in terms of what's going on, we just spoke about it, Spurs versus Dortmund for other reasons, I think. But in terms of just purely on paper, I think you have to say the Inter versus Arsenal game.
Yeah, because Arsenal...
They played each other last season, I think it was as well. So be looking forward to that.
And Arsenal have conceded 1 goal in the Champions League. So this unbelievable season, inverted commas, they're having, does it continue?
Could be a double,
The thing is, I wanted to ask you all as well, you could tell some of the bigger teams are starting to get a little bit tired. Like last week as well, I mean, Arsenal played during the week in the Carabao Cup semi-final, pretty much full team. City did play against Newcastle, pretty much full team. Both of them, well, one lost in Manchester City, one drew. Inter's playing Arsenal. Now, if you're Mikel Arteta, would you consider maybe... sort of saying, OK, you know what, we're top of the table, you know, we're going to get in that top 8. Would you consider, sort of saying, you know, I might play not so strong a team as you've got Man United on the weekend?
Yeah, exactly. I think it will.
It's a good argument. It's, you maybe less minutes. I don't, maybe not the whole full rest, just because, you know, the whole health science and now of the flow and everything in football and the science behind it all. Just that continuation.
How's that
and
for
the
a player
numbers.
these days? If they just say you still have to travel, you still have to play certain minutes, is that the same as saying, you know what, stay home, don't worry about coming to Italy, and just completely just chill out for a couple of days?
Yeah, I think your mindset definitely changes with it. It's more of a, OK, I'm genuinely resting, or I'm going and playing limited minutes, but you're still doing all the right things. You're still preparing the same, you're still eating the same, sleeping the same. Everything around just that performance stays the same. Whereas if you're, you know, completely away from the environment, you can, you know, rest up a little bit differently. But it's an interesting one because they, you know, a win's a win. You still have a lot of people to keep happy, and players want to play. So
that's right.
You want to keep them happy.
There's always a danger if you start what's been successful. You don't want to break that. You know, because we know that sometimes you break and then it's very hard to get it back. And,
that's a good point.
And you touched on it again. I mean, you've been there. Players want to play. You've been there. Yeah. You give do you want to play? Do you want to play in the Champions League? Of course they do.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the thing. You know, minutes and you know how does he juggle that? For the moment, he's doing fantastically well.
And also, it's the depth in their squad, which is why I think he will, is because he can. He's one of the few coaches in Europe. Maybe Bayern is another one. Where he's got the best squad in the Premier League.
Arguably the best squad in Europe. I
think you're right.
Well,
he's got 5 or 6 players on the bench who are just unbelievable, and you can swap out Odegaard.
That's why you buy them, for these moments. So you don't have to drop people or rest people. You know, you have that depth for a reason.
And of course, you know, you've got to manage the group in that way, because you look at Martinelli as a great example. So players who are left out, who are first-team players at other clubs, do not always respond well. It depends very much on the management, on the club also, but particularly the manager and how he managed that. And this guy is just doing unbelievable when he gives them the opportunity to play. Everyone is together. OK, it helps that they're in line to win a couple of trophies, that's true. But playing against Inter, Christian Chivu, you know, doing well there. He's got him
top
on
of the table in Italy, They're a very, very good team. We saw last season they did very well. Obviously, they had that disaster in the final, but Paris were outstanding as well. But I don't think really both Inter and Chivu could ask for a better start. 21 games gone. Like we said, top of the table, only 3 points, very, very close in Serie A. There's only 7 points between them and fourth place. Roma, the crosstown rivals, are 3 points behind them. And I think it'll be a different story from their perspective. They'll be really looking forward to this game to maybe prove a point, because obviously that Champions League would really have stung that final last season. And it'll be a huge test whichever team that Arsenal plays. But like I said, in terms of the fact now it's a league table, I think the most important thing for the bigger sides is to make sure that you're in that top 8. So you don't have to play that round of 32 games. Because once you get in a knockout, you don't know. So get into that top 8. Who remembers last season who actually finished first in the league or third or fourth? You don't.
Remember last season, Liverpool top and end up playing PSG, have to qualify,
and they're gone.
And then they go on to win it.
Are we liking the Champions League?
Yeah.
This fall?
Yeah.
Are we getting used to it now, aren't we?
Yeah, we
I think when it started, it was like, there's a table of like 30,000
No, we're
teams.
sceptical,
But now we're starting to get used to it. It's like kind of cool because you're getting like, in the past, they were like, that was a semi or that was a quarter, but you're getting them in week after week, you're getting massive matches.
Unbelievable.
So,
no, I think taking that lesson from last season.
so onside for the Champions League there.
But I think taking that lesson from Paris last season, I think a lot of big teams have looked at it and sort of thought, you know what, look at them. They didn't even get into the top 8. They went through the round of 32. They timed it perfectly. So hence why I'm saying about who Arsenal will play. But I think Inter will go all in, full strength.
Well, PSG, not even Tommy Lon's on top, as you know, in Ligue 1, which is just unbelievable. But PSG, still one of the best. But I tell you what, for all of them, Arsenal's win over Bayern in last match day, that was when you say, OK, this is a very serious team in Europe as well. And even Bayern went away. Bayern went away and said, OK, that's something different that we've played against those. Strong.
Because it was how comprehensive the victory was. It wasn't like, it was a bit lucky there and they got this there. It was like, wow.
Well, you see, 2 seasons ago, remember, Bayern eliminated them in the quarterfinals? What a massive progress. You saw the progress from that 2 seasons ago to this one this season.
Yeah, exactly. Great. And PSV against Newcastle, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm excited for that one, my old club. Away trip to St James's Park.
So we know how you're going for it.
Maybe PSV. A lot of Dutch fans, I'm sure, will go. They always have a good away support base.
Only 2 points between the two sides. Very
so
close.
I think it'll be a good game.
Okay.
Attacking football, both teams. So it'll be good. I'm excited for that one.
Great. All right. Well, listen, let's just turn to women's football before we finish. Women's Super League, North West London derby this week. Chelsea against Arsenal as the Gunners. What are you thinking about the game? Who do you think will come out on top? And particularly, of course, that's Kerr and Carpenter. Chelsea against Ford and Catley. Looking at it's not long now until the Asian Cup.
No, it's not. And they're all 4 of them, to be honest, are in great form. Obviously, Sam's now back after her knee and scoring goals for fun again, which is obviously really positive for us all to see. But in terms of WSL, it's, City actually clearly on top. I think we spoke about them and how good they've been a couple of weeks ago. But for Arsenal, if they want to stay in the race, they really have to pick up points here. They've scraped a little bit behind, but for Chelsea, they've scored, I think, 19 goals in the past 3 games and they always finish strong in the WSL. So they'll push City all the way and they need to win against Arsenal to do that. But for Arsenal, they really, really need to pick up points to stay a hold of City and of Chelsea. So
who do you fancy then?
I think Chelsea. I think the way they've played the past few weeks, they're looking like that real Chelsea that finished strong. They got a lot of their players back. So, yeah, I fancy them.
And the WSL is now a league that... Is that the top...
Yeah,
because it's quite new. It's still new. It's
the investment.
Europe didn't get serious about women's football until, a decade ago? And now it's like...
Yeah. In England, I think they did what we missed last year when they won the Euros in 2021, I think it was. The league just lit a lot. And it has gone from strength to strength year on year from that. And Arsenal really set the tone of that, and then now Chelsea and the cities have just invested heavily, and you're seeing the benefits of it, for not only their national team but for the league. So a good model to go off, but yeah, I think the end of the WSL season is always super exciting.
And that investment and the rise in standards, which is great, because it's so high profile now, we've got all of our players. I mean, effectively what we've done in Australian football is we've substituted all your generations who are playing at the top level in EPL or First Division and in Europe. We used to have guys in Serie A, we had Paolo, Lazio
Bundesliga.
and Frankie Farina over there. And
Zelic in
everywhere. Dortmund and so on. We've swapped that around, so now it's all of our women, it's all of our Matildas at the very top level in Europe,
100%.
playing for the top clubs, and our males are, still trying to climb that ladder again. So I guess that's where, in the context of last week, we started to talk about domestic women's football, which, of course, you're still playing in with the Wanderers. So the Players Association released a report about professionalism in the game, the lack of professionalism, the lack of investment, with a vision as to what they think the players are all involved in this, as to where they think it should go, like now, right? Post-Asian Cup. So the point I'm making is because everyone else is investing in it so well, our underinvestment and our under-focus on women's football here is going to cost us big time because those generations are coming through and we've had a golden generation of women, but that doesn't mean it's going to continue.
No, exactly. And, you got America, who have been at the top of the game for the past 20 years or so, and they've got systems that just the next player in is going to be just as good, if not better.
Young ones are good.
They're just, they're just different class over there. And then now you've got Europe, who are doing the same.
Exactly.
And now I think
we've been left behind.
Starting
to be.
And I think it's getting very, very noticeable. Our youth national teams, we used to go and compete with the Japan and China. Now we're not even competing with these nations.
And that's on both sides, men's and women's.
Well, the boys are just coming up. The boys are just starting to come up again. They won the Asian Cup, for the first time and so on. Whereas, in the women's game, there's been a chronic underinvestment. So let's just talk about where we are. You're playing in it. You've got the personal experience. Tell us about, we've got players actually retiring. This used to happen 30 years ago, when we were playing. And Matildas, they couldn't afford to be in the game.
Well, so if we go back to when we were playing, the two best leagues and until quite recently, this was a destination. We used to have American players. We used to have all sorts of players here. So the Matildas have been around for a long time, as has women's football. And it used to be Australia, America always on top. But now Europe has blown us out of the water.
All of them. Spain,
and I would say,
Italy.
And I follow this and I look at it and I watch it because it's my job as well. And what is happening to these women and the women's game is nothing short of a disgrace. It's embarrassing. And the PFA the PFA came out with that report and they're 100% right. But how do you get that done, Amy? How do we do that?
That's the $1 million question.
And I'll tell you, it won't happen.
I'll be completely honest, right now I don't see how it's going to happen. I think the money that it needs is, I don't know where it's going to come from. But, for us, we've unfortunately had to live like this for the past, 3-4 years since the real decline.
But live like what? Tell the viewers, tell the fans, what is it like to be...
Expected to be a full-time athlete, but paid and standards of a casual employer. Essentially. Today
barely
I was up at
basically.
5:40, going to training, was out in the field, did gym, and then girls will go to work for the rest of the day and then go home, cook dinner, go to sleep and do the same thing again. Girls are taking days off to travel. Like we have a midweek game, so you have 3 days off from work. You have girls.
So a lot of girls losing their jobs?
Yeah. You either you're very lucky to have an employer that is okay with doing that, but I think the biggest thing is we're not 12-month contracts. So it's, I think, a 8-month contract. So if in 30th of May, I think it is, from then no player will be a professional athlete here. So you have that whole off-season where you don't have a job. And so, obviously, no income. You just
got to go get any job you can.
And then, it's honestly, it makes me so angry just even talking about it because the state of how it's got to that point is just alarming and it's disappointing. And for looking at the global game, I'm very invested in the global game and played overseas and seeing how all those leagues have continued to just improve bit by bit. But we've gone the other way. We've
gone backwards. And girls just want to go over there now.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, they're leaving, And in fact, go on.
No, I was just going to say the systems coming through, I don't know if they're setting them up to succeed, to go anymore. And I think that's the most alarming part, that, we have so many incredible players over there now, but are they going to be, the young ones, good enough to go over there?
To replace them, because those girls are getting older as well.
Exactly.
So this is a warning sign to FA and APL. And
APL got a new guy in, Steve
Rosic and Michael Kluger for the FA. So these guys need to get together. Martin, sorry. And what is happening is shouldn't be allowed to happen and continue to happen. But when I read that we've got a massive chance to capitalise on the Asian Cup coming, because we failed to do so in the World Cup 2 years ago, or nearly 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
How does that work? Now, you know, everyone knows here, Matildas are supported and loved.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. And when they come here, the Asian Cup will be a success because they'll get full houses, they'll be sold out. But we've never been able to, they've never worked out how to make the Matildas fans, who are not football fans at the moment, and they weren't at the World Cup. We've got to get them to your games.
Exactly. For example, we just played Wellington Phoenix. There's a Nepalese striker there who's like a god in Nepal.
Yeah.
And her alone, Samba, her name is, she dragged to Wanderers Football Park, our biggest ever crowd that we've had there, all just to watch her.
Nepalese Australian community.
Yeah. Never seen so many Nepalese
it's a
people
big community.
in it, but they were all there, and it was like playing in like 15,000 people, because the atmosphere that they created was amazing. Unfortunately, the week after that, she went and did her ACL, so that was going to be a big step back in, you know, the league, because everywhere she went. Next week she went to Brisbane, same thing.
Wow.
But so there's people there that want to support.
So,
the
Amy,
players.
how do we get those Matildas fans to come to A-League women's games?
I think it's on, you know, the league, it's on clubs to go out and find out where they are. You know, every single stadium they go to.
Every Matilda game, you just go and ask them there.
Yeah,
it's like
they clearly love
you
it.
could put it out the night before and it
it's like
sells out.
Chockers,
It's, you know, I think the country does a great job at knowing and telling everyone when the Matildas are playing.
100%.
3 months in advance. 6 months in advance. But the league doesn't do a good enough job. Like, people say, when are you playing? I played yesterday.
What would
there's no
the
vision on
Matilda
it.
fans that we see, like, packing out these massive stadiums, if you went and surveyed them and you said to them, what's the reason you don't go watch the W
It's
League?
visibility.
You reckon?
There's been a fair few
People don't know what's
research.
on.
They don't
and
know
the
what's
A-League
on.
men's is the same.
The PFA have
to a
asked
lesser
the fans
extent.
that.
Often.
They do?
They've asked the fans that, and it is. It's visibility.
Yep.
What you see, if you know it's there, you're going to go.
Yeah.
And I think right now people don't know it's there.
Okay, so we had a report. That's a good start. And what they're saying is the Asian Cup's coming up. We need to build off the back of that. So what's your message to Steve Rosic and the APL?
And FA.
And
I know they're
Football
divorced, but they have a massive responsibility, a moral responsibility, I believe, as Football Australia, to help.
Yeah.
Well, this is half the game.
That's it.
Women
Help.
are half the game.
Yeah.
Okay, they need half of the respect. They need the same respect. They need. You need funding.
Yeah.
You need the exact same a type of attention that the male game is getting.
Yeah.
Is that the message?
Yeah, and I think the platform's there. You've seen in globally, not even just women's soccer, but women's sport in general. If you invest, you may lose a bit in the beginning, but it's going to give you something back down the track.
No doubt.
And I think that there's a wave of women's sports that if you capitalise on now, you're going to be better off from it down the track if you do it right. And I think there's models there around the world that if you see that, use that. Like,
and the longer it goes on, Fozzie, and you know this, Amy, you know it because you're already saying it, the longer it goes on, the harder it is to fix.
100%. Yeah.
That is just reality. So there are key moments coming up, and Football Australia and the APL need to band together to make sure we get the right deal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen in a year.
No, it won't.
I don't think so.
I would love for it to.
It needs to get back.
Yeah.
And it needs to be fair.
Fair. Women deserve, as I say, the equal, level of accountability and level of investment and the like. And also, Matildas are effectively providing a very large percentage of the revenue to the game right now, to Football Australia.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It only makes sense from a future
They lost $8.5 million. How do they lose the $8.5 million?
But if you don't invest in the game now, then the next Matildas need to be as strong, if not stronger, than this group. And then, so you have